Welcome to Cornerstone Today. This is a daily moment in the Word designed to help you start your day grounded, steady, and focused on what matters most. Each weekday morning we'll open Scripture together, seeking clarity, strength, and hope for the day ahead. This is about learning to walk with Jesus in real life, right where you are. Let's begin today in the Word. Well, good morning and welcome to Cornerstone Today. It's Wednesday morning. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that your day's off to a good start. You see, I've got my coffee in hand here, ready to go, and I want us to dive into the Word together this morning. Today we're in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 9. Yesterday we talked about how Paul teaches where we need to be putting our minds, and now here in verse 9 he's going to teach us what we need to do with our feet. He says, do what you have learned and received and heard from me and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. Now that is a bold statement. And honestly, I think it takes some confidence to say it. Notice he says, do or follow what you've seen in me. I don't think for a second Paul is being arrogant here. I think he is being honest about how faith actually works. Faith gets passed down. It gets modeled. We don't just learn about Christianity from the pages of the Word. We learn by watching people live it. And Paul had been that person for the Philippians. He had taught them, he had showed them, and now he's saying, don't just remember what I said, do it. There's a gap that exists in a lot of our spiritual lives, and that is the gap between knowing and doing. We can know a lot about prayer without actually praying. And we can know a lot about generosity without being generous. And we can absorb good teaching and leave it sitting there untouched. Paul closes that gap here. He doesn't say, believe these things or even remember them. He says, do them. And then comes the promise at the end of the verse. Not the peace of God this time. That thought was in verse 7. Here he says, the God of peace will be with you. Now that's a subtle shift, but it is very significant. He's promising the presence of God himself. Not just a feeling of calm, but communion with the one who is the source of all peace. And notice how that presence is connected to obedience, to actually living out what we know. Now, that's not about earning anything. Paul is not describing some transaction, but there is something very real here. When we step into obedience, we step into a closer experience of the presence of God. James said something similar. He said, be doers of the word and not hearers only. And Paul is saying the same thing, just differently. So today, I want to challenge you to think of one thing that you know to be true from Scripture, from good teaching, from what God has already shown you that you haven't actually put into practice yet. Just one thing. And take a step toward doing that today. Because your faith was never meant to stay in your head. It was always meant to move. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for spending these moments in the Word today. As you go, remember this. Faithfulness is built one ordinary day at a time. Keep walking with Jesus. Keep listening. Keep trusting. God is at work all the time. Join us again every weekday morning for another moment of encouragement and truth here on Cornerstone Today.